Got the lead part.
You walked that one, didn't you?
So Benjamin and Greg got your Facebook, whatever they were
Yeah,
trying to
they
do?
did. Oh, I forgot to tell you, yeah, they did. Victor Bethel, password somewhere.
Okay.
He's actually better than Greg is on the
Okay.
computer, but we don't tell that.
And it was, you're trying to do it on your computer or your phone?
I got
A
an
tablet?
iPad or
Oh.
whatever you call it, crazy
Okay,
thing.
so that makes sense.
I'll never use stuff like that.
Okay.
I got a lot of crazy things going and things about selling my property and things. I'm homeless.
Okay.
I don't know what to do. Yeah, I just changed it.
Do what feels best for you.
Trying to look younger, darling.
Whatever you do, Benjamin's gonna take it. So.
Well, they gave it to him.
Okay.
Homer and Granny Nora gave it to
Okay.
him. His name's
54
on it.
going on 15,
Okay.
is like I said, right?
I mean, he's just a young boy. So
Good.
So
We are up and running. I get this over and give it to Alan.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the phone, yeah, I picked it
Yeah.
up.
What do you think I meant?
I thought you meant the whole service, like, oh no.
Notes. Well, we can do that.
No, no.
It certainly would be fine with me. Okay. There you go. And the mic is on. So we are going around the world in
Recall says
80
howdy,
days.
partners.
Is that what they say?
Yeah. We're going on in 80 minutes.
Yeah,
Recall
well,
says howdy, partners.
who's that?
Recall.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Brother Rick and I were talking just before we came on. Had a good long conversation. A little bit of what we're going to talk on tonight, but for discussion. Did you get a chance to look at the notes?
I didn't get a chance to look at the notes, but I did listen to the message.
Okay.
It was good.
And so maybe tonight we were going to kind of circle back around and just discuss a little more in detail the things we talked about
Okay.
Sunday. So what I think we ended up kind of talking about death is just a doorway.
Mm-hmm.
And the last message, the title was "I Am the Door," and really you could take the whole concept of "I am." Before we entered into time, that's before the "I am." "I am" brings us into time. Before that, we were the fountain of great life. We were the rainbow fountain. We were the self-existent one. We were the Elohim. And then we came to the door, and we entered through this door. We're just talking about "I am the door." We enter through the door, and the door of "I am" takes you into time. And as soon as you enter time, we knew ourselves as one, collectively as one. In every way, we knew ourselves as oneness. But when you enter the door of "I am," and you pass through that door, it's time, and it slows down everything.
Mm-hmm.
And when it slows down everything, it throws you into a focus of duality. We are not in duality. We are oneness. We've always been oneness, but by entering these doors, many different doors that we enter, each one of those throws us into what I would call a time warp. It takes us out of oneness. It takes us out of eternity, and eternity steps into or flows through time. And as it steps into time, we kind of, we slow way back, and all of a sudden everything's a duality. Because we are an eternal being, but we're trying to express ourselves through time things, which slows us way down, and we get that multiple view. We get that multiple look. We get that feeling of duality all the time. And you can't get rid of it in this present stage. What you can do is know that you are not a dual person. Know that when you're seeing in oneness, you're seeing from the eternal side. But being in time, inside this time warp, duality is always going to come up. It's just always going to come up. And each one of those doors that we pass through, whether it's I am the way, it's a door of death. I am the truth, it's a door of death. I am the life, it's a door of death. I am the door. I am whatever I am is. You were not a time element before I am.
Right.
When you enter that door of I am, you become a time element. You blend in with it, you match up with it, the twain becomes one, and you feel that duality all the time.
I always, just a little bit different than what you were saying. I always viewed the I as the eternal one, and the am as the expression. So the I, the eternal being, we're all the I, eternal being. And then we enter into the time frame. That's where the am comes in. That's the duality.
Yeah, and you could say that. The I is before the am.
Before the am, yes.
Yeah.
So every time you step into duality or step into this realm,
Yeah.
you express yourself. You
Am.
become the am. I am love. I am hatred. I am Sister Norad. I am whatever expression I use
Yeah.
through this deaf realm. That is the am.
Yeah.
And then when I'm done with that, I drop the am and I go back to the I. I go back to the eternal being, which we all are.
Yeah.
We're all part of that eternal consciousness. That's always how I viewed it.
Yeah.
I even see that as a sort of duality. I is about presence.
Mhm.
Am is about present. I, the present, am is present.
Yes.
So you have your presence
Mhm.
and you have being present.
Yeah.
And when you have those two together, then you fit in. The chaos is gone. But when you start separating those two,
You can't.
when you do that, you go into chaos and
Duality.
Yes, you can't.
duality.
You're always that eternal being. It will always be with you, even through this expression
Yeah.
of time, life, death, everything. You're still that eternal being.
That's right.
Right.
You'll never get rid of it.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
So you're always that I, and in this duality, yeah, you can say you're I am. You are a dual
Yeah.
being.
You're still the I,
But you're still the I that never goes.
but you're
I never goes away.
manifesting am.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Am is the present
Yes.
move of whatever you're
Whatever
doing.
you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote down here, we are eternal. We were before the am. We were I. We were before the am. Moving from the eternal, self-existent one, the fountain of life, to the am, I moving into am, and when you become the I am, it is a door that we speak of that moves us through from eternal, slows us down into
Yeah.
time, and we start reflecting a dual person. We start reflecting a dual character, a dual in every way, when we're still just one.
Right.
We're still just one. We just entered a time warp, or we entered a season of time that slows us back and makes us become the am. Instead of the I, we become the I am.
Yep.
We begin to do that. Eternity passes through the I am door into time. I wrote it like this. We can talk about it. It's like a person who is free when you're in the I. It's a person who is free and is sentenced to a specific amount of time as the am.
Mhm.
or you're sentenced to jail. You're free, you get sentenced into jail. You're I, you get sentenced into am. And the I am remains in time like the person remains in jail. At the end of the sentence, the person, the I am, leaves the prison through the same door of I am and moves back into I.
Yes, yes.
And then he starts to go through another door. And that may happen to you 100 times in a year, depending on what you're doing. Careers you move into, people you move around, societies you deal with, neighbors you have, work you do, just everything that you're doing moves you in and out of the I am door. Because you're an eternal person. So you're not, you're multiple happenings simultaneously. It's just going on simultaneously. And you're both I and am, and your expressions and your manifestations and your eternal and your time, and you're just, it's just moving because you're eternal. You're eternal. You don't have to stay in one state of being. Like, I got to do this thing. And then linearly, then I move to this thing. And then linear, I move to this thing. No, you're an eternal being.
Right.
And you can be in 100,000 different states of being
Yes,
in one day.
yes,
Just
Absolutely.
moving through.
absolutely.
And you do the things of I. You think the way I thinks. You move in oneness. Your manifestations end up in duality. Everything you're doing seems to end up in duality, but the whole time you're thinking of yourself as one person, one life, one being, one this, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one hope of calling, one person, one walk, one spirit, but in a multiplicity of ams.
Manifestations.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can't say, to me, you can't say this is an illusion. Some of it is, but all of it is not an illusion. I can be both the I and the am.
Mm-hmm.
I can be a real person in a real reality, and even the illusionary parts. Man, when you come out of a dream, you feel it. It's real. You know it. And if you have certain dreams, I mean, they catch you and you'll remember them for the entire rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You experience it. So, although, yes, we are in somewhat of a dream stage in some ways, we're always in the reality. We're always beyond the illusion. We're always real. And we're just expressing our realness in a multiplicity of ways, all at one time.
In a more temporal way. Because the elements we choose to express through are temporal.
Yes.
They have a beginning, they have an ending, or they have a use, and then when the use is over, it's laid down. It's temporal.
Yes. You ever watch I think not too many probably watched it, but I'm weird. The movie Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp.
Christina Ricci, yes.
Yes.
Remember the movie well.
Remember Johnny Depp, the little girl, he's talking to her, and she sees a cardinal, and he's got this little twister in his hands, and it's got a cage on one side, and it's got a cardinal on the other. And she says, I hate to cage cardinals. They're such a beautiful bird. And he stands there and he starts twisting that. And the cardinal picture's on one side, the cage is on the other, and as you twist it, it gives you the illusion that the cardinal's in the cage.
Right.
And so then he's doing that, and she says, oh, it looks like the cardinal's in the cage. And he stops it and he says, no, it's not. He said, that's the way it is in reality for us. And then he moves on. And I thought, boy, that is so true.
Yeah.
The cage is here, and the cardinal's here, the beauty's here, everything's here, the eternal's here, and the cage is here. And it's spinning through time in a way that it gives the illusion as you were in the cage. And then occasionally we stop it. Occasionally we stop the illusion, we stop the duality, and we say, look, we're one. We know who we are. We're not in a cage. And we stop the spin, and we see, and we know exactly we're free. And then all of a sudden we enter into another spin. We enter into another time. We enter into another cage. We enter into another jail cell for a time.
Yeah.
And it feels like we're in it. It feels like we're in an illusion, but never are you in such a thing. You just feel like it. So it's reality.
And it's meant to do that. One, so you can feel it.
Yes.
It's not that we are, but how else are you going to be able to feel imprisonment without creating an illusion of being in prison?
That's right. That's right. I use movies a lot, but David Carradine, you remember Kung Fu?
Mhm.
And they put him in the hot box,
Yeah.
and they kept him in there day after day after day, and every time they come back, he was just as revived as he could be, and feels just as good. And so, it finally it puts you on the inside with him, and he just goes into another world. He just goes into another world. He sees himself. He's by a lake, and he's just swimming, and he's doing all kinds of things. He's feeling really good. And all of a sudden, they knock on the door, and they pull him out of that illusion, and they bring him back to reality, so to speak, and then they stick him back in there again. Well, that's what's happening to us. We're going in and out and in and out. All of it is real. Listen to me. The illusion is just as real as anything else. All of it is real. But some of it, we are just creating something to catch the feeling from.
Yeah.
We can't die.
Right.
We can't do any of those things. But
Feelings are real, is
we
what you're
get
trying to
to feel.
say, right?
Yeah.
The feelings are real. The circumstances may be an illusion, but the feelings we gain from it is very real.
That's
And
right.
that's what, like dreaming, that's what we're left with. When we wake up, the dream may go away, but how it made you feel, well, you can carry on the whole day.
Yes. And I kind of wrote it when I thought about that movie. I put, it's the illusion of the cage and the cardinal. If you have ever watched the movie Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp, there is a scene where there is a cardinal bird. Little girl sees the bird, and Depp is standing there with a twister that has a cardinal on one side and a cage on the other, and he begins to flip it, and it makes it look like the cardinal's in the cage. And so the little girl gets kind of like, no, we don't want that, and he stops, and the cardinal's not in the cage at all. It's just an illusion. Time is a mirage, an illusion that gives you that feeling. That's what time is. It's a mirage, it's an illusion, it's a dream mode, but daggone it, you get all the feeling, you get all the emotion.
Yes, you do.
It's just as real can be.
Yep.
And that is where we are at. And that, if you go back, I'll just say this very quickly, if you go back and study Paul's writings and the things that Jesus said in the 4 Gospels, you're going to find he was saying the same thing. He was putting them in eternity, and he was putting them in time at the same time, and he was bringing out beautiful things about eternity and then capturing them and holding them in time to make them feel the difference between eternity and time. Jesus was doing it all the time. They held on to Moses' law. And Jesus said, I didn't come to break Moses' law, I came to fulfill it. And then he'd turn around and say, I am the way. No, Moses' law is the way. I am the truth. No, Moses' law is the truth. I am the life. No, the only way you find life is in the law. He was breaking
Yes.
all of the all of the illusion that was all around them. He was breaking them into the mind of eternity.
Mhm.
But both were real. Both of them were real. And that's what happens to us so many times. So what we do is we start looking for a source, what's real and what's not. Because we don't want to think that all this is real. We want to think that it's just a dream. Let's get out of the dream. So I think Brother Daryl Mails, one of them, he said, if I planned this out for myself, then I didn't know what in the world I was doing. He said, I've had enough of dying. I'm ready to move on. But anyway, that's what we do. We immediately start looking for a source that's outside of all this.
Mhm.
And the source is not outside of all this. The source is us.
Right.
We're in it. It is us. And we are feeling these things and going through these things because we created it this way for the purpose of getting the feeling and the emotion and everything about it, getting it in our lives.
We created the door, but there's still the unknown.
That's right.
Every door you walk through, as
It's
soon as you walk through
totally
it,
unknown.
there's an unknown.
That's
And
right.
it may look real good on one side, and you get on the other and say, man, why did I do that?
Yeah.
Why am I here? What did I do?
Yes.
The unknown is brought on by the amnesia we take on. I remember we talked about that before, the amnesia. Now, you talked about death quite a bit Sunday. To come here, we talked about you have to take on pretty much an amnesia state. You have to forget who you really, really are in order to gain the feelings and experiences that you think are real, and they're just temporal on the side. And there's some real that you take back with you. The feelings, all that, you take back with you. Everything you experience, that's going to be an eternal part of you forever.
That's right.
But you take on, in a sense, amnesia. You forget who you are to come through that birth canal and to grow and grow and grow. And eventually you come to remembrance of, I am an eternal being.
Yes.
But until then, you think you started here. You think you start here and become eternal, as the denominations teach you.
Sure.
You know, your start is here and I become an eternal being because God accepts me. No. You wake up to the fact that you are an eternal being. You chose to come here to die daily to different things so you can understand yourself, to learn,
That's right.
to feel, to experience. And you take all that back with you. And what you don't take back with you, the things that help you gain those experiences, they just drop off.
Yeah.
Those things just drop off. But the experiences, the feelings, all that is eternal. You take that with
It's
you.
eternal. You take it with you. All the intuition, all the emotion, all the love, all the feelings, everything you take with you, all the hate,
Yeah.
all those things, you carry it with you,
And, the
and
first-
it's eternal
it's
in you.
eternal, yeah. The first thing you have to die to, well, not the first thing, but the main thing you have to die to is thinking that you start eternity here.
Yeah.
You don't start it. You can't start eternity. You are always eternal. You chose to come here. You
That's right.
made that conscious choice to come here.
Right. You chose to flow through
Yeah.
a frequency of time,
Yep.
a vibration of elements. You chose to flow through it in the manner you're going through it.
So Daryl Mel, you chose to come here and ad-lib your way through life. This is part of your ad-lib.
I think our intelligence moves so fast that when we slow down into time, when it's slowed down,
Sure.
that's the amnesia.
That is the amnesia.
That's
I
the
was going to
amnesia.
say that next. You're right.
It's time is amnesia
Yeah.
because we're moved
That's
so
right.
fast, like light. We move so fast that when we
Yes.
slow it down, frame by frame, we fall into an amnesia because we're not used to that.
It's the duality.
It's the duality.
And
of it.
occasionally, for a few seconds, you hit that deja vu.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yep.
drop into oneness. You remember. I bring to your remembrance all things. It'll hit you, and you come a great step. but that's just a step.
Just,
And you maybe get out of that jail cell, but then you enter another I am, and an I am, and an I am, and you keep maturing yourself.
And I was just great to talk about that. That's an excellent point. If you're an eternal being and you decide, make a conscious decision to take on amnesia to for whatever the reason, don't you think you have a certain time frame that you're going to come out of that amnesia?
Sure.
You know you're going to come out of it, and you set up a certain time frame, like you were talking about Sunday. You know when you're going to leave this place.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know.
Like somebody wrote on Facebook in one of the groups, they said, John Lennon said, "I'm more famous than God," and a few days later he was shot dead. This one done this, and this one done. And you better watch out, because when you make a statement about, or you say something about God or something wrong about God, people have ended up in car crashes, and they throw out that fear-mongering
Mhm.
idea. So I wrote in and I said, "Oh, really?" So when you have a bad death, that immediately means that you did something wrong toward the spirit. So I said, exactly what did Jesus do wrong to take on the worst crucifixion in
Right.
the world? Exactly what did Polycarp do wrong to get himself burned at the stake? And what did, and I just kept going, what did Paul do to get his head chopped off? And I just kept going down through there. I said, what did William Branham do so bad and so wrong that the spirit put him in a horrible crash?
Yeah.
And I said, that's nonsense. Your spirit knows when it's time to leave.
Mhm.
And however you leave doesn't mean a penny. It's not a 2 cents worth of anything.
Yeah.
However you leave, if you get beaten on the street by a mob, if you get raped and shot and killed, if you get burned at the stake, I said, what about the 68 million people? What about them? That got burned at the stake, slaughtered, raped, killed, left and right, ate by lions. What did they do so wrong? Death is just death.
Mhm.
That's what it is. And it's just a door that you move through. And how you pass from this death to the next death doesn't really mean a thing.
Mhm.
So, that whole line of people's thinking, they throw fear-mongering on people, like, you better watch out. You better watch how you say you're God. He'll prove you're not God. They say all kinds of things. I just kind of laugh up my sleeve. So we go through. I like what Daniel said. Amnesia is just really, we moved our eternal state and the intelligence of that mind. When we moved into time is the very amnesia.
Yes, it is.
Mhm.
It's because we slow down so much, we don't keep up with the mind of eternity, and it throws us into amnesia. That's a good way to look at it. I wrote, we are the source. What you are looking for is not a step away. Everybody always says, just one step away, just one breath away. What we are looking for is not a step away. It's here.
Mhm.
This is the heaven and the earth that we've desired.
Mhm.
We just need to come out of that whole concept of we're in this horrible place and I need a source from out there somewhere outside of me to rescue me from this.
Mhm.
We all had that idea.
Yeah.
We all had it. Rescue me. Get me out of this. Help me. And you're it. You're the source. You're the being. You came in here. You're gaining everything you can. And when you're finished here, your spirit is going to move on.
Mhm.
And it's not a matter of whether or not you say something bad or do something wrong or get the Holy Spirit after you and he's going to kill you.
But feelings create that.
Yeah.
The intelligence doesn't. It's the feelings that go, oh, wait a minute, I don't like this. This is not what I wanted.
Yeah.
I don't like this at all. And it creates fear and confusion and chaos and all those things. But because it's feelings.
Yeah. That's right. I put, when we step into time, we slow down and feel caged, limited. And we want something or someone else to take care of things for us, to set us free. We want somebody or something or some spirit to free us. And I put down, you need to stir up your own being. Move with the Christ in your own being. Know that you are in the proper place in the exact time, and stir up the presence of the Spirit that is in you. It's you. Move with compassion and love and emotion and conviction, and watch whatever you're in evolve to what you needed and desired. You just keep moving through that process. We as humans are taught to hunt instead of rest. All of our life. It's all been taught. I'm not talking about hunting animals either. I'm talking about you have a nature to hunt, to seek, to conquer. And we are predators by nature in this life. In some ways, even upon our own species, we're predators, conquering this nation, conquering these people, slaughtering this and that and everything else, and you see it all across the world. In some ways, we're predators upon our own species. The source, our very spirit being, placed that desire or that attribute in here, in this place, in this time frame, to progress us. By doing this conquering and things, we gain wisdom, we gain understanding, you gain strength, you gain so many things. And then after you come to a certain point, you need to lay down the competition. You need to lay down the conquering. You need to lay down the predatory feelings, and you need to unlearn the ways you learn. It was good, and it was an attribute you needed to take you so far, but then what we do is we don't know how. It's like a guy comes home from Vietnam and he doesn't know how to be at peace again. Right. We come through this predatory stage, and we have done it, and now you need to unlearn the ways you learn to use that attribute. Stop conquering, move that attribute into another arena of love, intuition, spontaneous movement of being helpers, serving, loving one another, helping one another, instead of looking for ways to conquer one another. The predatory spirit was a good thing up to a certain point. And then it's time to realize you gained all the strength out of that you can. You've gained you've gained all the prestige and the glory and you've gained it all, and it's time to unlearn that process. Keep, like we said, keep it in your mind, know who you are and what you learn from it. But that attribute in humanity can only go so far.
Right.
And it's time to unlearn it. It's
And
time to
that's the
change
key. It's the human spirit that we're trying to overcome.
That's right.
That's the predatorial aspect of it, is that human spirit. We have to overcome that thing.
Yes.
Because the source, it knows everything. It doesn't
right.
have to overcome anything.
That's right.
But once you put it into a human spirit with a human body that can feel all these things, then like you say, we become predators. And we prey on everything.
Yes.
Even animals. Look at, we put that into the animals. We put that into the plants. We put that into the weather. We put that into all
Everything.
the atmosphere. We put that into everything.
Yes.
So now what do? We have to figure out how to move through it, gain what we need, and then leave it alone.
Yes.
To walk away from it. So it's good, but I'm done with it.
So you say, what are you talking about here, brothers? What we're talking about is you entered an I am. You entered a door, and inside the jail, inside that cell, inside that cage, for a season, maybe like a prison, predator is the very main attribute that you needed to use. And we used it, and we became, we got thrown into a pack of wolves, and we came out the leader. We came out, we won, we were the predator, and now it's time to not use that on one another. It's time to the sentence is finished. The sentence of predator and aggressive and conquerors, that sentence, that season is finished, and we need to step out of that I am and move in to another I am. One of intuition and love and emotion and peace and helpers and all these different things. So we've moved out of one stage into another, and it's not easy to do.
But we will always do it. You never stop doing it.
I think there'll come a time when the predatorial part of it is finished.
Yeah.
It's over. We prayed on everything we could possibly pray on, got every understanding we could from it, and we're completely done with it. We'll just lay it down and quit using it anymore. But we have been through every aspect of it.
Predation is really hierarchy. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's conquering everything that you can and putting it below you. Now, you may put it below you in levels, but a predator never puts anything equal with him or above him. It is a hierarchy. And we have begun to tear down these hierarchies and say, well, a predator is a dictator. Brother Branham said in Feast of the Trumpets, he said that this dictatorship, he said it was in World War II. It was in all those dictators, Mussolini and Stalin and Fernandez and Hitler, and it was a great spirit that moved among the nations in the World War. And in the Feast of the Trumpets, he said this dictatorship is going to move from a military form into an ecclesiastical form. Well, that's what it did. It moved in an ecclesiastical form, and all of a sudden, these predators or these Hitlers or these dictators in the message came out, and they started, warring and destroying every other race of message. Well, I call it that. Every other form of the message outside of what they had, they were destroying it. And it was a dictatorship that moved through. And we move through in our life this same type of dictatorship. Even in the Third Testament, it was a dictatorship. Even when we came through all the different forms, when a form is finished and you've gained all you can out of it, it moves into a dictatorship.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's time to get out of that I am. It's time to get out of that I am now. It's time to move away from the predatory things. It's time to stop. The best way to put it is the way we've been putting it for the last year. It's time to level the playing field. It's time to level it and realize there's no hierarchies. Everything's horizontal. There's nothing vertical anymore.
Yet, you can't completely leave it, can you? You're going to stop eating. You got to be a predator to eat.
Oh, yeah.
So, in a sense, in the way we project ourselves, we want to get to a point where we're setting aside. But we can't totally eliminate it because it's part of this life.
Sure.
What we
And
need
always
to
will
do is to reduce it as much as possible and use it in a humane way. That, to me, that's what being a humanitarian is. You can still be that. You can still be changing from being aggressive to assertive, but you're still there. Just be more humane about it.
Or use it the way it was originally purposed to use when he told Adam how to be the one that was dominant in the earth. He wasn't going after things to kill it, to destroy it, to do any of those things, but he was the caretaker of the
Mhm.
earth, and he had domination over the animals and
Mhm.
the botany life, the fowls of the air, the fish of the sea. He was the dominant one, but then we moved into humanity, broke open that attribute, and became predators, using it in a manner that wasn't the way it was supposed to be originally used.
And that's why he had such a tough time, but still went through with the situation with Cain and Abel. He did not want to kill Cain for what he did.
Yeah.
He didn't want to go there. So instead he said, I'm just going to send you away, go away, go away, go away.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to take your life.
Right. And Cain, all you got to do is go back and read. Cain really, his seed line, really done some amazing things
Sure did.
to take the earth into a much greater relationship with humanity. Earth is our body. Our spirit is humanity. And he brought out things like, buildings and cities and music. It was Tubal Cain and Cain's seed that brought all the music and brought all the instruments, the things you look at today, the guitars, the pianos, all of that came from the influence of Tubal Cain.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like Cain was a horrible person. What we need to do is stop being so predatory and trying to put this thing down over here and kill it all the time, and then lift this thing up over here because we think it's more like us. Well, some things just aren't like us.
So we need to stop thinking that Cain was a serpent's son and Abel was Adam's son.
Yeah.
Stop that thought.
That's
Cain just got jealous and upset at his brother.
right.
As simple as that. He got jealous and upset and got mad. They got into a fight and Cain killed him.
His
all it was.
focus was different. His focus was on elements. Abel's focus was on blood, chemistry. Their focus was too different.
Yeah.
And now look at what he did. He took that focus, that desire for the elements, and he turned it all into these things that we use today.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you come down to Jesus, let's just follow from Adam all the way down to Jesus, and everybody was casting away Cain, Cain's sacrifice was the wrong sacrifice, and Abel's sacrifice was the right sacrifice. Cain's sacrifice was an evil sacrifice because Cain brought forth the fruit of the land. The fruit, God was rejecting the fruit and accepting the blood. Well, let's come down to Jesus' day. And Jesus said, what? By their fruits you shall know them. And Jesus talked about the fruits, and he talked about the trees, and he talked about bringing forth fruit, and he talked about bringing forth all these things. And it was all about fruit, and more fruit all the time.
I'm the vine, you're the branches. Just
Yeah.
the complete blending in.
Just a constant. He
Yeah.
took Cain's sacrifice that wasn't accepted in Genesis and accepted it in Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
We need to wake up and realize that this predatory spirit, this injecting of our own ideas, is not what the Spirit wanted. We're moving through a flow, and we're going to have to learn that lesson, I guess. If you have to let everyone else go their way, but if you have to, I wrote this down, let everyone else go their way, but you come home. Come home meaning you find inside yourself who you are and realize your home
Mm-hmm.
is not their home,
Mm-hmm.
and that's okay. That's fine. They're not all going to be like us. If everybody needed to be like Jesus, then why not just have Jesus and nobody else? We're all different. Every last single one of us, and when we come home, it's going to feel different. My home's going to feel different than Sister Norod's or Connie's or Alan's or whoever. We come home Come home, meaning come to the movement of the Spirit that's in you.
Mm-hmm.
Doubt, predatory actions, hurtful ways, belongs to the realm of form. We come out of the I into am, and we started putting on all kinds of form. And doubt, predatory feelings and actions, hurtful ways belongs to the realm of form, not to the spirit life. So the more that we can step out of this am, the quicker we will move into something greater. We stepped out of the am of the Third Testament and we moved into something much greater.
Mm-hmm.
We know that. And this section of am that we're in is going to change too.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to change. And don't sit back and think, this is it. This is going to change too. Let me give you some framework. The earth, this is it. Heaven, this is it. The atmospheres, this is it. But things are going to change when it comes to the seasons,
Mm-hmm.
the whole spirituality of things, the way we flow through the elements. It's going to change and change and change and change and change all the time. Anybody saying anything?
Yeah. Recall Cain and Abel, duality. It is all of us. All us.
That's right.
Alan Stuckless, Cain, the tree of knowledge.
Yes. And you look at, that was the story of Adam, Eve, Cain, Abel, and Seth. The story of 5 people. And what we do in our mind is we start saying, okay, see, I want to be Seth. That's who I want to be. And then somebody else says, well, I want to be Adam. And you pick out characters of who you want to be. Well, I'm all 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I am Eve, I'm Adam, I am Cain, Abel, and I'm Seth. And that whole story is all of me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way I feel, it's the way I move, it's my actions, it's my being. It's a story of me. Like I've said often, Elijah, Elisha, Jezebel, Ahab, Jehu, that group of people in there, they're all me.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody says, I'm not Jezebel. Well, you're just in denial. That's all you are. You are Jezebel. You are Ahab. You are Elisha and Elijah and Jehu. It's all you. It's a season that breaks open and it shows you all of the attributes of humanity. And we want to say, well, this is what I am, or this is what I am. We are the I am in every situation.
And that's that hierarchy mentality that we have. Oh, I'm only going to pick the good parts, and that's me.
Yeah,
The bad parts, that's not me.
No.
That's a hierarchy you just created in your head.
that's right. Good and bad, right and wrong is a hierarchy.
It's a hierarchy. You're all of it.
Yeah. Doubt comes with form and identity. We are light. Doubt is obscurity. So as soon as you enter into the I am realm, out of the I, out of eternity, and you flow into the I am, you immediately create doubt about yourself. Immediately. Because your mind falls into amnesia because you slowed down so much, and you do still have the mind of Christ.
Oh, yeah.
It's absolutely there. So you're running in a duality process, and you're feeling like a dual person, like there's a me and there's a he. There's a spirit, and then there's me, and I'm trying to live up to the spirit, or there's a, and you got this duality process going all the time. When it's not that way, all of it is me, all of it is oneness, and we dropped into a realm that is obscured. The light is still light, but it's just obscured. And that's doubt. It comes with form. You doubt that that's really what you want it to be. You doubt that this is how we're supposed to be. You doubt that you came the right way. I came by sex. I came by this or that. You doubt that you learned all the right things. You doubt that you were in the right family. My mom did this to me. My father did that to me. The doubts just flow through you in an obscure way. And what it does, it masks the light. You begin to put on masks, and you begin to put on identity cultures. You begin to put on all kinds of things. And all of a sudden, this race of people, I shouldn't even say race, we're only one race, this color of people caused so much trouble down through the generations that I'm not who I should be now, and they need to pay. Or this color, or this people, or this nation, or these laws that were passed, or that you could just go on and on and on. All you're doing is throwing doubt and obscurity into the light of who you are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's all you're doing. And doubt is a costume that you put on. If you're going to wear it, just remember, you're going to be perceived as something other than light. When people look at you and they hear all of that, all of the horrible things and the victimized person that you are, they're going to look at you as something other than light, even though you are light. Behind all of that facade is the same light that was back here in the I before it ever stepped in to the I am.
Mm-hmm.
It's just obscured. When we walk in the light, remember John said that? Walk in the light as he is in the light, and you have fellowship one with another. When we walk in the light, oneness of all things is our foundation.
Mm-hmm.
We look and we see and we become one with all things. We might not like and we might not agree with all things, and we might feel like it needs to change, but we embrace it and we become one with it, knowing that behind all that, there's a real light, and it will come to fruition unless we're predatory and try to destroy things that the Spirit is doing, even though we don't like the looks of it. The Spirit is doing everything. Be natural, and it will move you in the direction and the presence that you're supposed to be. We must have the courage to enter the temple. How many remembers what we said the temple is? Just been last Sunday, I think. The temple is the heart. The temple is the spirit, the human spirit of man, the spirit of the great spirit that's covering the entire earth. That is the temple. And we must have the courage to enter the temple. The flow of the Spirit. We start there, and you'll release yourself from the cage of time. The cage of time is a mask. It's a cancel culture. It's a victim. It's a facade. It's something you put on. It's a doubt. You throw these doubts out all over the place, and you begin to put on a costume that's illusionary, that's not real. You feel it. You think it's real. You're walking through it. The people around you feel it. They see it. They know who you are, and they perceive that you have this thing on. But we must have the strength to enter the temple, because it's only the temple, it's only the Spirit that will remove those things from you.
Mm-hmm.
The Spirit will remove it from you. The flow of the Spirit. We start there, and you'll release yourself from the cage of time. Time will be no more. Time will fall off of you. You'll move out of that door of I am. You'll move out of that into something else. Whatever you came into, whether it's victimized or whether you know the predatory situations, whether it's all the different weaknesses and things that are out there, you move into those, and then you're in that jail cell for a season, and you're feeling it, and it's an illusionary thing, but it's going on and it's real, and you have to step back into the temple, or you have to come back within yourself, wake yourself up to the fact of, this is not me. I am not dual. I am not a victim. I'm an eternal being. And move yourself out of that door that you stepped into, and your spirit will say, I've had enough of that. I'm not there anymore. And you'll come out.
Time to die to that.
Yeah. You die to it. And get ready as soon as you die to it. You may stay in the eye and feel real good for a little while, but there's another door coming. There's another door coming. And it will make you feel whatever it is that you enter. It'll put you into that illusion again. What if life is the dream? This was a question. What if life is the dream? And when we die, we wake up.
That goes back to what I was talking about the other day when I was here. Everything is light. We are light. Everything is light. That's the purity of existence. But what makes it light? What calls it light? What gives it that term light? How does it understand that it is light? You have to take on some type of darkness to understand that you are light.
That's right.
But in that light realm, there's nothing there but light. So where's the darkness going to come from? You can't speak it out into existence in the light realm. It's not there. It can't be there.
Yeah.
So you have to go within. You have to go within to come to the darkness. And by going within, by taking on amnesia, by going into time within yourself, that is where you find the darkness.
Yes.
So that's what I was talking about, kind of like a dream state. Like when you dream at night, you can have a very vivid dream. When you wake up, your mind is still thinking on that dream. You're coming into consciousness of who you are.
And in real life, you may act on things that you did in that
Oh yeah,
dream.
yes you will, exactly.
Because they're both real.
Yeah. And I've had, since I was a boy, I've always had dreams that came true later. I didn't remember it until
That's
it
right.
happened. I think, I dreamed this.
Yes.
Yeah, so it is real. You go within and you dream and then you come out of it. That's basically what we're doing. We're going within into amnesia, to a dream state, and then when we come out of that back to who we are, like, wow, that life that was something else.
Yeah.
You know, that was I learned so much through that state.
That's right.
I'm gonna go back again and learn something else. So yeah, in a sense, we are living a dream. We're living a state of amnesia of who we are, but still we are who we are. We're an eternal being gone within, and we're on the inside now.
Yeah.
You know, my within is connected to all of your withins. It's all connected.
Yeah.
And then when I come out of it, I'll come out with you. You'll be there waiting on me, or I'm there waiting on you, however you want to term it. We'll all come out and we'll discuss the experience that we went through.
Yes.
Well, that's what it is to be multidimensional.
Exactly.
What's the reality of being multidimensional? Wherever your focus is at that moment, that's the reality. It doesn't take away from or lessen the other realities, the other dimensional
Yeah.
beings that you are. It's just that your focus is on one, like right here, right now.
right now.
So now this is the reality.
Yeah.
It gives a new meaning to eternal life is what you do for others. And eternal life, this eternal life that we're going through right now is still eternal life. And we do it for our other experiences. We gain experience with ourselves and we help others gain their experience. And when we
Yes.
come out of that, that's still an eternal being that has those feelings and remembrance
right.
of that experience that you gave me, I gave you. Eternal life is always what you're gonna do for others.
What
You
The
are
oneness
forever.
of I.
The
We
oneness
all
of I.
came out of that, and we got to reconnect with
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
I put down for the question, I put life is a series of multiple dreams. And we move through the door of death time and time again, each time gaining the needed understanding. And don't take me wrong, when I say it's multiple dreams, it's real things happening to you.
Yes.
You're just dimensionally passing through
Mm.
many things, gaining and helping others to gain
Mhm.
as we go along. Then Brother Kit Gomez wrote something. He said, what if we've already woke up and this life is now the real thing and we're still thinking that it's a dream? I think we were dreaming before we were born, and our birth is a way out into another reality that is now. I once was dead, asleep, dreaming, but now I'm awake, alive.
This is just sharing different perspectives of multidimensional person.
Multi-dimensional person
Because every one of those statements are true from a different perspective.
from a different perspective.
Yes.
And what I put down when he wrote that, I said, I think it is both ways.
Mhm.
We keep stepping into realities as we move along in the movement of the Spirit. And we are still in multiple states of unconsciousness. In some states, I'm an eternal being. I can be in a state of unconsciousness and in a state of consciousness at the same time.
Yes.
Yes.
And there's many, many dimensions and things that I'm unconsciously rolling through as I'm coming through this conscious area I'm in. And as I move through this and I keep breaking out into things greater, the things I'm picking up in this dimensional move will help me in the other multiple dimensional
Exactly.
moves all along the way.
Yes.
And it's a constant movement of duplicity, duality in multiple realms and dimensions, and we are in some dreams and we are in some realities, and we are moving back and forth all the time. We're eternal. You think I have to go through this and I can't go anywhere else and get this done, and then I go through this, and then I linearly, these two are done, so therefore 1 + 1 = 2, and I go over here and I didn't. No.
No.
You can go through hundreds of thousands of things in a day that have to do with multiplicity and dreams and realities inside you. So, I said, I think it's both ways. We keep stepping in and out of these realities and dreams, and we're in many at the same time in the movement of the Spirit, and we're still in multiple states of consciousness and unconsciousness. We're eternal beings and can span both states of being, conscious or unconscious. It's like you wake up and realize you had a dream and a dream in a dream. And you're in a reality, and you're trying to figure out exactly what in reality had anything to do with the dreams. And so I wrote and I said, you had this, if you get a chance, watch the movie Inception.
I knew you were going.
Somewhat of an example.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing movie. You got Leonardo
It's deep.
DiCaprio, and I forget who all's in it, but he's the main actor, I think. But it gets to a point to where if you're following along and you're trying to keep up with the mind of the movie, you're in about 25 different realities and dimensions, and you finally just kind of lose where you're at.
Yeah.
And you just start thinking, come on, get us back to where we're, and that's what we are in. We are eternal beings, and we are constantly moving through these many, many, many multiple situations, dimensions, dreams, illusions, realities, and we're just moving through it. We're just moving through it all the time.
Constantly contrast.
Yes. constantly. And a contrast all the time.
Yeah.
And I said, when you wake up, you realize you had a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream, and you realize that all of them had real emotion, feeling, and everything in you, and all of it changes you as you're going through it. Somewhat of an example is Inception. So that was a question. I think Bobby Beaver actually asked the question. And so you can see that coming at it from the angle of Kit, he was exactly right. Coming at it from the angle of Bobby, he was exactly right. Coming at it from my angle, exactly right. Because nothing is absolutes anymore. You can't just pick up something and say it's an absolute. You can't do it. So we're in a time where when you take it all and put it together, it depends on which situation, which dimension, which flow of elements, which realms, whatever you're in and how you're coming from that angle. It's right. It's what you are. It's what you need to be.
It's what you pursue. And that might be heavily influenced by what you're doing in other dimensions
That's right.
and not even aware of it. What's going on here? And you think, why am I doing this? What's it? This may be a reflection or an influence on you, from you, in other dimensions, taking you this way.
That's right.
And what you got to do is you got to say, wait a minute. This is me. Now, why am I here?
Yes.
How did I get here?
Yes.
And that, you have to go inside because you do need to understand the dimensional aspects of yourself.
That's right. And what you do is when you get into that, just kind of shaking your head and squinting your eyes and saying, so many situations are going on, you grab a hold of yourself and you pull yourself back to oneness. And you say, I'm not a dual person. I'm not 500 million things out here. There's no spirits out here. There's no devils out here. There's no gods out here. There's just me. And it's all me. And pull yourself back to oneness. And it's almost like a vortex. Everything goes.
Mm-hmm.
And you stop and look around and say, okay, wow, that was something. And you move on. You move on to the next thing. When we were, how did John put it? Cast out of, when we were kicked out of heaven. That's what we used to say all the time. The devil got kicked out of heaven. When we were kicked out of heaven to the earth, or when we began to take our being of I and move it into the am.
Mm-hmm.
The I is the eternal spirit. The am is the manifestation, the earth. When we were kicked out of heaven, or when we stepped out of the I into the earth, into the am, we got removed. It began to immediately feel like a duality. We felt like it was two different beings, two different people, two different gods, two different this, two different that. You felt separated. It was total separation. That was from moving from the flow of I into the am. The am slows you down, and all of a sudden you've got a God and a devil. This I out here, which is the great I of all things, and then there's me, this little devil down here. It's just one. It's just
So you're
you.
saying heaven is the I.
Yes.
In this
if
case.
you want to say it in this.
Don't say
yeah.
it in that context.
In that
Heaven
context.
is the I.
Yes.
And you're getting kicked out of the I into the am.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Recast from
Recast.
eternity into time.
Yeah.
Or kicked out from heaven into hell, into the earth, or whatever you want to call it. But that's we have as human beings called it all kinds of different things. But here we are, it immediately makes us feel dual feelings, duality of persons. But what it is, we walked through the door of I am. into time. And time immediately slowed us and made our existence feel like two. Is what it does. It threw us into amnesia. When you pass back through that door, immediately you notice that the duality was a mirage called time. You entered into the am, and it was a big mirage called time. You see everything from oneness again. When you move back out of that door, you see everything from oneness again, and time is no more. Revelation 10 takes place for you. So what we need to understand is when you get that feeling and you just can't seem to get out of that duality, you can't seem to get out of that kind of thinking, just pick yourself up and move back into oneness. Move back in, say, I know I'm one. I know I'm one spirit. I know there's not two spirits out there. I know that I'm moving throughout all these dimensions. It's all a bunch of illusions. It's all a bunch of mirages. I have gained great experience from all of it. It was all real. But the reality is I'm one. I'll always be one. I'm an eternal being. That's the reality.
I'm the actor, but I'm playing many different parts in many different plays.
That's right.
But regardless, it's still me, the actor.
Yes.
I'm just acting out different
Different roles.
characters, different roles in different plays, but it all comes back to just me.
Yes.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And I used a little, in a little different way to help you. You could say that we got kicked out of the tree of life and got thrown down into the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, if you want to say it like that. And a great sword was placed with angels, so you couldn't re-enter the tree of life again. You know, that's the way we looked at it for centuries and centuries and centuries. But I looked at it, and as I was reading it, I seen where it said the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and I thought, you know, that's masked. That is, there's something hid here. And when I looked at it, evil is just live spelled backward. Good life, good lives. We go into the tree of the knowledge of good living. This is good living. That's what this is. And so I wrote this, I said, the understanding of the knowledge of good living, therein is the correct interpretation of the tree. When you can step in here, you have not disconnected yourself, but you have moved from I to I am. You've moved from tree of life to tree of knowledge of good living. When you come into here, it has all kinds of masks, it has all kinds of costumes, it has all kinds of things, but always remember this one thing. You stepped into a tree of the knowledge of good living. That's what this is all about. It's teaching us how to live, enjoy life, live long, prosper, have good living. Entering this world of the tree of knowledge gave us the living we always wanted when we were in the I. So it's not a bad place. It's not an illusionary place. It's a real place. These realities are real. But we came in here, and this tree of the knowledge of good living has millions upon millions, an endless amount of cultures and masks and facades and all kinds of, just loaded with all kinds of things politically and naturally and spiritually and economically and listen to me, it's all light. Every bit of it is enlightenment, and it's all light. There is no darkness in us. It's all light. But when you put things on, it obscures the light. And so you get some people who obscure the light in politics. and they're not the best thing to ever look at. You get people that obscure the light in the economies, and they're not the best thing to look at. You get people that obscure that light in religion, and it's not the best thing to look at because it's obscured. But it's all good. It is all good. It is our teaching. It is our understanding. It is our knowledge. It is a way for us to build a concept of good living in this earth.
It's
That's
just
what it's
different
about.
shades.
That's
Take a
right.
little white paint, mix another color with it, and then take that color and mix another. You're never in creating
That's right.
different shades. You can go through 5 million of them and still mix one more different one, and now you've just
That's right.
created another shade. It's not that there's darkness, it's all light in
Yes.
multiple shades, and that's what our dimensions are,
Yes.
is multiple shades of living.
That's right. And then after you get those multiple shades and you say, I like that shade. This is what I found out in the paper mills. You were looking at it under a Macbeth booth. But where you're going to sell the paper to, they may be looking at it under fluorescent lights and everything else. So when you send the paper there, they take it out and they say, this don't look like it looked when you showed it to us there at the plant. And we said, well, we showed it to you under Macbeth booth. Now, if you want to go buy all the lights that Macbeth has and put them all through your plant, then it's going to look just like what we showed you. Because
sales technique.
yeah, because there are all kinds of lighting.
Right.
You know that. There's all kinds of lights, and everything. You may take one thing and say, this is it. But I can take you through 25 different lights, and you'll say, that don't look the same here, and it don't look the same here, and it don't look the same here, here. So you need to understand what we're moving through is multiple dimensions, multiple light, and every form of light casts a different shadow. It casts a different color.
Yep.
You can go in there, you can begin to build a color you want to build. And you'll set up the primary colors, red, green, blue, and yellow. And you set those up and you begin to feed those in to the machine. And then you come in, you adjust those colors, and then you come in with slave colors behind that. And you take them through a primary system, and then you move them through a secondary system, and then you move them through a tertiary system. And by the time that you're done and those colors are coming out on the other end, you've got 400 different colors. And everybody says, I wanted this one, and I wanted this one, and I wanted that one. Well, you got to say, this is what we got. And that's exactly what's going on now. I am the light. Well, which light's that? Is it the light of Luther's day? Is it the light of Wesley's day? Is it the light of Pentecost? They're all light. Is it the light of Third Testament? Is it the light of love divine? Is it exactly what kind? Is it fluorescent? Is it daytime? Is it calm? Is it what kind of lights are you talking about? So let's realize that running around and saying I am the light doesn't bring us all to one way of living. It's
To
all
one
different.
color.
To one color. That's right.
Never gonna happen.
Never gonna happen.
Right.
So, I am the door. I am is the door.
Yes.
And when you step through it, you're moving into time, illusionary processes, realities, dimensions. You're moving into all kinds of things. And you, the real person, is operating it all.
You're the one that stepped through the door.
That's right.
You created the
You
door
are
to
the
step in.
source.
Yes.
You create all the things in there. You are the source. I don't know what time it is.
9:20.
Okay, so it's about time to slow it down.
Speaking of time.
Yeah.
It's good to see everyone. 2 more weeks. 2 more
If,
weeks.
yes, if you're on and you haven't said anything, just put a little remark in. Amen, hey, hi, how you doing? Great fellowship, enjoyed it. Put a little remark in there just so we know you were there.
Mhm.
And it gives us an idea how many are on there in the different areas.
And if you
things
have a
like that.
language challenge, just hit a like.
Yeah.
The
Or-
like is the same in every language around the world, so just hit
Or-
a like and
yeah.
that'll
Or
solve that.
put your nation,
Yeah.
you know, or your state, Ohio, Tennessee, Mississippi,
Argentina,
Ghana,
Mexico.
Argentina, Mexico, Philippines.
Uh-huh.
Just put something on there.
Put your color. I'm
That way,
orange.
that way we know who you are. We know you've been there. That's what I'd like to see, is to know. So I've enjoyed it. Is there anything else?
Keep living. Enjoy life.
Yes.
Be.
You say, Brother Parnell, sometimes we get into these things and we go into depth, and I think we lose the concept of Jesus, the Bible, Christ, all these things. Well, I'll just be real honest with you. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help you lose those concepts. Those things are real. They were real for their age. They were real for their time. And I don't ever want to disregard them or belittle them or declare them to be something horrible. Everything all the way down through is exactly what we needed. But no, we're not there now.
Right.
We're moving beyond those things. And I think Stephen Adebaum made a statement the other day, and I looked at it and I thought, he's right. He said at some point down through eternity, as we continue to move through time, he said the Bible and Jesus and all these things may not ever even be mentioned or in existence in people's minds anymore. And I thought, yeah, that's true.
Very true.
Because we are the Christ. We are the anointed one. We are that at the present moment, in the presence, we are the Spirit. We are all those things now. So I hope that helps. In your authority, you want to sing a little?
No,
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Okay. In your authority of who you are and your understanding that you are the Christ and that you have the power and you have all the things of understanding to do whatever you need done here, healing, finances, whatever it is, your mind to open up more to the greater things, it's yours. Take it, believe in it, rest inside there that that's who you are, and it's all yours for the taking.
Yes.
Keep living the dream. And
Yes.
take a good look at Connie while she's still a little bit younger. Next time you see her, she'll be older.
Oh, that's right, her birthday.
Oh, her birthday's coming up Saturday.
Oh, my.